Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie B Cards. In today's video, I want to look at 3 rookies that I am high on. In this video, I want to look at 3 rookies who I think have very real potential in this year and years to come. What I'm looking at is I normally don't like to do videos like this because I don't want to make you feel like you have to go buy these players. This is pure speculation. This is speculation at its finest on the internet with me looking at very small sample sizes of stats and pricing and everything. This very short-term stats. We've seen players like Yasiel Puig. We've seen players even like Jason Hayward who have their best season in their first year or two, and then they aren't as great after that. And that could be the case with all these players. Let's just say that before we start. But these players all have something I like. There's one player I really like. There's another player that I think is a good speculation. And then there's a player who's kind of a buy low right now. So I want to go over all 3 of those. The player I really like is Corbin Carroll. He really fits the mold of a player I like. And if you've watched my channel before, I'm sure you know what that is. That's young, toolsy, a 5-tool player. All of that is important. But there's a couple of things with Corbin Carroll. So far through 60 games, he has 3 WAR, which is top 5 Major League Baseball. He has an OPS plus of 163. And you'll see that it's bold. This means it is actually leading the National League. If it would have been italicized in bold, that means all Major League Baseball, but he's leading the National League in OPS plus, which takes into consideration the ballpark you play in and the league factors. So he right now has been the best offensive player according to that metric. His batting average proves that. His OPS proves that. He has 13 home runs and 18 stolen bases. So he's on pace for basically a 30-30 season or really close to it. Overall, Corbin Carroll has been great, and he hasn't even been playing great defense yet. His defense has been getting better throughout the year, and so that's just another plus of Corbin Carroll. So I really like him. He is shorter, he is smaller, he's fast, but he is a little bit better than some other players that are fast, and that's their primary tool. Let's look at his WAR in comparison to other big leaguers. We can see that he is going to be right here tied for 5th with some great players ahead of him. That's Baseball Reference WAR. And then we see over on Fangraphs, he's actually the first National League position player with 3.1 WAR. So you can see he's actually tied to his teammate. Zach Gallen is the #1 pitching National League WAR leader. So Diamondbacks are really good for a reason, probably highlighted by these 2 players so far. So you can see he has all the tools, and his defense hasn't even kicked in yet, which will only help his numbers in the long run. I will say though, his outs above average, which is a StatCast metric, is really good in comparison to his defensive runs saved, which is basically how, and his UZR, which is how it's calculated through Fangraphs and Baseball Reference WAR. And a lot of people prefer outs above average because it's StatCast measured, and you can see he is elite. So take that for what it's worth, but I want you to look at the stat. 99th percentile in sprint speed, 92nd percentile at max exit velocity, while having red on every single thing here except for arm strength, which is not shocking for how small he is realistically. I do also want to point out that I like Corbin Carroll because look at this spray chart. It is absolutely gorgeous. He has power the opposite way. He'll take the base hit the other way. He'll also pull it for power. It's just insane to see how he's able to do this. And some of these are 420-foot home runs when he's shorter for the average Major League Baseball player. His splits really aren't terrible. If you look at right-handed pitching versus left-handed pitching, there's nothing really there that's bad. He has more power against righties. You can see from his home run totals and his slugging percentage, but that's also a much bigger sample size, so maybe he hasn't faced enough lefties in the big leagues to really get a hang of it. On top of that, he is better on the road than at home. You know, the field he plays at, Chase Field, is usually a hitter's park, so to be better on the road is a very good thing for him. But I want to just say one thing. This sample size is really small for this year alone, but it's still something to show. If he was a Chase Field merchant and that's where he's getting all of his stats, you might be worried, but that's not the case at all. Pretty even splits on home runs and on RBI and everything for counting stats. This is a fun stat. This is the on pace for stats from Fangraphs. This looks at a player, how they're doing right now, and it says if they played the same way the rest of the year, if they don't miss one game, these would be their stats. It's skewed by people like Michael Perez and Joe Adell who've only played 1 or 2 games, because Joe Adell, he played 1 game so far this year and had a home run, and there's 98 games left in the season, so that means he's going to have 98 home runs according to the stat. Obviously, that's not real, but if it was, he would be the next reincarnation of Babe Ruth with 13 WAR. But to look at players who've had a bigger sample size, we can go down to Sean Murphy and below. Adam Duvall was doing great before he got hurt. But we could see Corbin Carroll is on pace right now for 8.2 WAR, and he's on pace for 34 home runs. And if we look at his stolen bases, 48 stolen bases. So just a fun stat to look at. I also love this right here, Mookie Betts with 44 home runs. I love to see Mookie Betts' power coming into play. But anyways, back to Corbin Carroll. He is playing great. He is a very dynamic young player, and speed will age well throughout his 20s and maybe into his early 30s. But on top of that, his hitting profile is very solid. So let's look at his card pricing. He doesn't have any cards in Card Ladder, so I can't look at any graphs or data or show how much it's going up. But there is some stuff that's interesting. His Bowman Chrome autographs are pretty dang expensive. As you can see, the refractors are all going for a lot, and they're selling rather quickly because people are now realizing, yeah, Corbin Carroll is really good. But if we look at some of his rookie cards, his Series 2 gold cards going for around $80. That's not bad. I think there's actually a buy it now for around $85 on eBay in comparison to other big league stars that could be watered down due to the fact that there's more parallels than normal in modern top sets. But here is his real one autograph, which is basically a top, I would say 5 or 6 rookie autograph every single year for players, and it went for about $230. I did see that there was one that was inscribed Go D-backs, and that one went for like $900. So that was pretty cool to see. But the base goes for that price. I think a red ink went for around $900. So while it's expensive, it's not as high as you would have expected for someone like Acuna when he was a rookie, or even Juan Soto when he was a rookie, and so forth. We'll see a lot of products with Corbin Carroll in them, so don't get FOMO and just buy everything, because you're going to see a lot of his cards coming out this year all the way through next year. But overall, that is where his card market is. Bowman Chromes are expensive. Rookies could be affordable for you if you're interested in his cards. Next up is Jordan Walker. We're looking at Jordan Walker as a potential pick. It says he's 21, but when he started the season, he was 20 for I believe the first month or two. I think he just barely turned 21. And so this is pretty interesting. Think about where you were at age 20. I think a majority of my viewers, I think like 80%, is over the age of 21. And for that purpose, think about what you were doing at age 20. Jordan Walker, he might have had a slow start in Major League Baseball, but he's playing Major League Baseball. And I know that's not like completely abnormal. We have 21-year-olds all the time in Major League Baseball, but just give the kid some slack, because if we look at his numbers, his offense has actually been okay. He's hitting 278 with a 110 OPS plus. He has all the power in the world, but the reason why his WAR is -0.1 is because he's been one of the worst defenders in Major League Baseball. And it's not just defensive WAR, it's StatCast, it's every single thing thinks he's been really bad so far. But if you look overall, his offense has been good. If he can just become a league average defender, which might be asking too much, but let's say slightly below average defender, he could have some serious value as he figures out the big leagues. Just to kind of hit on his defense, he has -7 defensive runs saved, and it's only been 27 games, and that is like bottom 15 in all of Major League Baseball, so hopefully he can improve that. But, so if he's a bad defender, all this, why am I high on him? And it's probably just because of the potential, the raw power potential, the raw hitting potential that he has, and he's quick. So let's look at this. So this was released by Major League Baseball. Here are the 30 youngest players who made opening day rosters. There's his birthday. So he just turned 21. He was born May 22nd, 2002, and he was the #1 youngest player heading into this season. I like him just because he has a lot of great scouting grades. We can see right here, he has a hit tool of 60, a power tool of 70, which is insane. His run tool is only 50, even though he has really high sprint speed. Also, this scale is not 10 to 100, it's actually 30 to 80. So if you can get to 80, that's like once in a lifetime type prospect. So being 70 power is really, really good. And being 60 is also pretty dang good. 50 is not average. I think it's like right at or below average, right around there. So anything above 50 is like a solid Major League player. And so we can see with Jordan Walker, he's projected to be a great hitter with amazing power. So we can look at his percentile rankings. He hasn't played a ton of games yet, and so he doesn't have all the percentile rankings like most players, but you can see his max exit velocity is the 94th percentile, his arm strength is in the 97th percentile, and his sprint speed is in the 85th percentile, so all the top of Major League Baseball. And this is his xWOBA, which is basically how good he's doing offensively, and you can see he's coming out of a big funk, so maybe this is the time to look at Jordan Walker cards. And splits, you could take a peek at his splits, nothing crazy. Home road against lefties, he's been bad, but he's only played 8 games, so not much to see there. I just like to show it to see if there's anything worth looking into. The problem with Jordan Walker is his cards aren't cheap. They're actually right around, if not more than Corbin Carroll, and I don't know if his upside is as high as Corbin Carroll's necessarily, but that's where Jordan Walker is, and I just wanted to show maybe he's a good opportunity because he's playing slow. If people start to not believe in him, just remember he just turned 21 this year and all that stuff. But that's a player you could consider looking into from this class that I think has a lot of serious potential. Not the only one who thinks that. It's not necessarily a gutsy pick or anything, but I do think that he could be a good buy. And the last player I want to show, he is a buy low opportunity. And I kind of feel bad for him because he's not having a bad year, but people are acting like he is, and that's Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson is in his second Major League season, and he's only played 34 games prior to this season, and he has a 111 OPS plus this year, and he started really slow. And I think he actually did pretty good the last game or two since I took all these screenshots. So I think his OPS plus is in the 120s now, which is 20% better than league average. His OPS is still lower than you would like to see, but if you compare that to league average with ballpark factors, league league factors and everything. That's why this stat is so important. But you can also see his stats might be a little underwhelming when it comes to batting average, but his on base at 342 is really good. His slugging is a little low, but he'll get that up in my opinion. But if we look, another reason why people are high on him is because heading into this year, he was the #1 prospect overall, but his cards don't really show that. And he was never really a hyped up prospect like we saw with someone like Jordan Walker or Corbin Carroll or Anthony Volpe or a player like that. But if we look at his minor leagues, you can see why. This last year in AAA and AA, he hit 297 with a 946 OPS with 19 home runs in only 112 games. And that was playing shortstop. He's moved to third base primarily now, but overall, his numbers are still really good. So was it a little bit high of a ranking? Potentially, but I do think Gunnar Henderson has a ton of potential. If we look at his baseball percentile rankings, this is what you expect to see from a young player. This is concerning because expecting batting average based off of where he hits the ball and how hard is really low, but he has good peripherals, like his average exit velocity is high, his sprint speed's high, his hard hit percentage is good, his walk rate is top 6 percentile in all of baseball with a 94th percentile, while his strikeout rate is bottom 10% in Major League Baseball. I don't think there's many players in the top 6% or top 5% almost of walk percentage and the bottom 10% of strikeout percentage, but that's who he is right now as a young player. But it's good to see he has the eye to basically take the walks if needed. If we look at his card prices, you'll notice that he is significantly cheaper than both players we just looked at, which is why he could be a good buy low candidate when it comes to a player you might want to speculate on who's really not having a terrible rookie campaign. And so that's why I think he could be a sleeper pick if you're looking to buy somebody. But again, don't take my advice on anything. If I had to put my money into one player myself as a gut feeling, it'd probably be Corbin Carroll. But I think Jordan Walker and Gunnar Henderson are unique opportunities as well. So let me know in the comments below who your favorite rookie is from this class, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.